Hello everyone, this is Orhan. In this video, I would like to talk about writing research projects. Every research project starts with a question and it answers that question. So I will talk about how to write research projects and give you some tips about that. So you have to start with a research question, and that research question should be specific. It should be researchable using the resources available that you have. And then the most important thing is, I think it should be feasible to answer within the time frame of the course, if you are taking a course. So these are the three main characteristics of it. If you have a research question in mind, then that's great. If not, these are some couple of tips that you might find useful. So you might start with a general theme, for example, coronavirus. Do some Googling about that, just like write coronavirus and financial markets, and then Google what's going on. And do some reading. After doing some reading, narrow down to a specific question. So a question cannot be a broad one. It should be as specific as possible, just because it should be easy to answer. So here are a couple of examples. The first one is seeking the effects the coronavirus has on the pharmaceutical companies' share prices. So that's specific enough. You should download the pharmaceutical company's share prices and see what's going on. Second one is talking about a comparison between previous pandemics and coronavirus on the effects on financial markets. Again, download some couple of indices in financial markets, draw a couple of graphs, and then you might compare. The last one, what are the effects of coronavirus? This is too broad, okay? Like, what effects are we talking about? Like public health, economics, finance? It's too broad to answer. It might take like years to answer this question, so please refrain from those kind of very broad questions. Once you decide your question, and then you need to, you might prefer to answer that question, and to answer that question, you need to do a couple of searches, and then you need to look for data. Let me show you how to do some literature work. So there is a web page called scholar.google.com. In this web page, it searches academic works, academic papers. So right here, coronavirus versus financial markets, you would see tons of academic papers. These are all academic papers, so you can't find anything non-academic here. So that's the difference between Google Scholar and normal Google. And you click the very first one. So it is giving you a link of a paper from a journal called Science. When you click on the PDF, most probably it will ask for a membership. Okay, so if you don't have a membership, you might prefer to search the same exact article in our university's webpage. Okay, in our university's library's webpage. So there we have a database of tons of journals. For example, this one. Oh no, this is Science again. Okay, Nature here. So assume that this is the paper that you are interested. Just copy the name of the paper. Copy the name of the paper. And then go to our university's libraries page and then paste it there. So here's the PDF. So when you click on the PDF, you will download the paper and then you can read it. So this is one thing, so Google Scholar. The other thing is finding some data about your question. My question is, again, remember, I'm doing some research about coronavirus. So there's a page called ourworldindata.org. They have really unique database which they collect from different sources. So this is their web page. It's an interesting page, and there are tons of very good data here. So when you scroll down in that page, they give you data about coronavirus, data about every single country in the world. You might prefer to take a look at that. They have really useful and user-friendly graphs. You might prefer to take a look at those graphs. But guys, please make sure you download the data of the graph, and then please make sure to draw the graph on your own. Just don't copy and paste the graphs. Draw your graphs on your own. You can just, like, you see this little tiny data link at the bottom of the graph, so please download it from there. So other source would be Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. So they have a really useful data page, data resource page called fred.stlouis.org. So you can just like search economic data from here, and your GDP, you'll find the GDP of United States. Again, it shows you the graph. It's possible to download the graph, both the graph and the data from here. You see the download link here, and you click here, it asks you what kind of download you want to make. Just click the Excel data, download the data, draw the graph on your own, please. Other pages would be imf.org. When you go to IMF, there's a data link here. You can just search any kind of data from about the world, like global economies. So IMF is also a very good research for data. The other one is some interesting alternative would be Google Trends, trends.google.com. Okay, so in this page you can see what people are searching for through time. Okay, whatever time you are specifying. For example, you can write here corona and hit enter. It shows you for how long people have been just searching about corona. You see that it has started trending around the end of January, and in February it just like skyrocketed. So this is the Google Trends. You can even just personalize it with respect to countries, time, and different categories. You can even compare it with other things like flu. You write here flu. It compares the flu searches versus corona search. You can do anything here, okay? So you can just write Lady Gaga, you can write, I don't know, any kind of song you want to so search. So you see how much people are interested in those keywords. That's the whole essence of Google Trends. The other thing is, if you go to universities, Bloomberg Lab, in Bloomberg Lab, when you open an Excel sheet, you would see a Bloomberg icon at the top in the toolbar. You can download data from there. So you can use the Bloomberg's incredible database and hit Spreadsheet Builder. And then historical data table, you can download the data from here. So in my case, I will show you how to download a couple of data about coronavirus. So NCOV case, and then the others. You have to know the ticker, or you can just like search the ticker. Next, market activity, last price. So when you hit enter, you can just like adjust the time. So from January 15 up to now, so the first column gives you number of confirmed cases globally, and the second column, column C, shows you number of deaths globally. So this is about Bloomberg's coronavirus data. But to download the data, you have to know the tickers. Okay, so you might not know it, or you can just like Google the ticker's name. So what is the Google ticker for coronavirus? Those kind of things. So you should do those kind of things. Okay, so these are basically about the resources and data resources and academic resources. The last thing is, once you just download the data, make your analysis, and then you might need to come up with an answer to your question, and you need to wrap up your paper. So I will show you an example of a paper. So this is a more academic paper. You do not need to be this much specific, this much detailed, but just to give you an idea. So there's this is the idea, this is the title of the paper, Trading Puzzle and Puzzling Trade. And then comes the abstract, which kindly, which summarizes you, shortly summarizes you what the paper is about. A couple of sentences would be okay, not more than a paragraph. And then comes the introduction and literature review. So what people did about this idea, most probably some people like did something about the idea. You have the question, you have it before you, like maybe many years before you. So please take a look at those academic papers from Google Scholar, and then summarize it in introduction and literature review. And then once you, as I said, you do not need to write this long, but just to give you an idea. So once you finish the introduction or motivation part, and then present your data, so what kind of data you use to answer your question, give the descriptive statistics of your data, mean, median, and standard deviation. And then once you give the descriptive statistics of your data, just like present your analysis, what kind of analysis you did, okay? You might prefer to answer your question using graphs and then just show the graphs, okay? If you do the regression analysis, correlation analysis, just show the regressions or correlations. Okay, in most of the cases, whatever you do, please put some graphs in your research paper because they are easy to understand. They are very helpful for the readers. And these graphs should be self-explanatory. It should have a title, it should have access names, it should be as understandable as possible. People can understand it without even reading the paper. So that's what I call self-explanatory. So these are the graphs. Put some graphs. They are very useful for data presentation, and then just like present your results, present your conclusion. So what's the answer to your question? So you had a question in the beginning. So what do you conclude? What are the effects? And then once you present your results, just conclude everything. Okay, just wrap up everything in a couple of sentences saying that, hey, these are my conclusion. These are the things that could have done, but I don't have time. I didn't have time. Those kind of things. Okay, so just these are conclusion. Once you are done with the conclusion, the last thing is maybe if you have an appendices, you can put it here. The last thing is the references. Please list your references here at the end of your paper. So this is just an example. I mean, you might find tons of different and better examples if you Google it, but just to give you an idea, this is a sample research paper. It's more than what the classes are asking for generally, but I mean, just to give you an example. As I said, these are just to give you idea, give you some tips and clues to write a paper. You might do more or less. That totally depends on you. I hope this is useful to come up with an idea about how to write a research paper. I hope you find it useful and it helps you. And I hope again that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can email me. That's all. Hope to see you in the coming videos. Bye.